bit that you read out had a bit of dig at marketing. Obviously, that's not you guys in the fresh produce space. That's the people selling the supplements and the weird things that people definitely don't need. I like that intro better when you weren't reading it off the page, the first part. Thank you. That made me very happy. I am wearing today, I will point out, I've represented all of the 4 major berries in my outfit. I have my raspberry dress, I have my strawberry and blueberry badges, and my blackberry earrings. So I do take my theme dressing very seriously, and I did see the guy in the strawberry shirt before, and I think I need to get more details about where that fabric is from. I lean very hard into the theme dressing, and I'll show you more of that in a minute. I'm really glad that Rachel did have such a lovely intro for me, because I do feel like a bit of an imposter here. I'm not a marketer. I'm a food and nutrition scientist who is very into communication. And the work that I'm going to talk about today is work that we've done in the education and communication space, specifically targeting health professionals. But that campaign that, the data that was used as part of the collateral for the campaign that Jane mentioned earlier came from our project trying to educate and influence health professionals to recommend berries. But definitely has use in the non-health professional consumer space. So hopefully there's something for everyone in this presentation. So the power and the challenges of talking about the health benefits is what I want to do today. I also should say I'm here from FOODiQ Global. We're a food and nutrition research, communication and education company. You might have heard of us before. We used to be called Nutrition Research Australia. So we do everything end-to-end, creating new knowledge and sharing it with people. And that is my joy, not the figuring out what goes on in the lab anymore. My joy is sharing information with people, so I'm really glad to be here. Now, I will just show you that I am very serious about my berries outfits. I actually have, when I started putting this slide together, I went, just put 6 on Emma because you won't fit them all on a slide. Then I get here and see this screen is the biggest screen that ever existed, and I could have fit all 20 berries outfits on. But I added it up in my wardrobe of 300 food-themed dresses. Berries are the second most represented, second only to citrus, because there is a whole bunch of beautiful lemon prints out there in the world. I would love a little bit more diversity. For some reason, strawberries, really great in getting the fabric prints. This is my only raspberries dress, and I can't find a blueberry one anywhere. So working on that, but other commodities other than berries, I'd love to see a little bit more work there. And berries are a really good one in terms of when I'm doing things on social media to be able to share information with people. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I have accumulated so many of these dresses. All right, enough about me and my wardrobe. Let's talk about what I am here to talk about. Oh my gosh, is there a way of making this slightly larger, AV friend? Thank you. Technology, I love it. All right, so you're probably thinking, and we actually got this feedback a lot while we were working on this project. People would say, why do you need to educate health professionals on the health benefits of berries? Don't people already know that berries are good for them? And it's true, people do already know that berries are good for them. But when we surveyed health professionals, over 90% of them said, yes, we know berries are healthy, but less than half of them could actually say why. And so in a saturated space where there's so many healthy foods out there and so much blandness of health messaging in terms of, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, we need some specific sticky messaging to get people to keep telling our stories. We also have the challenge that people are not eating the things that we want them to eat, including not eating enough berries. And the challenges people face, thinking about that triad that Luke talked about, the taste, people know they taste good, the health, people know they're healthy generally, but the convenience issue and the cost issue. So people say, I can't recommend berries to my clients because my clients are not of that socioeconomic status. So berries are still seen as kind of this, high-end fruit and vegetable that only the lucky people get to choose rather than being the everyday recommendation. And then there's the challenge of competitiveness, and Jane touched on this. We don't want it to be competition between different berries. We want all of the berries to elevate each other with that health halo. but also competition with the other fruits and vegetables. And so if you try to say to a health professional, recommend berries to people, that would be great. They say, oh, well, people are more comfortable with bananas and oranges. That's more their everyday. They don't have space to add another fruit because people take that 2 serves of fruit a day very seriously and think that it's a ceiling and not some kind of, healthy eating model as is in its name. And so we do have these challenges that we need to overcome. Now, I just want to unpack what I meant when I talked about sticky stories, and I think you've seen that already with the 2 amazing speakers who just spoke before me, because they had these little things of details and nuggets and history and colour in each of their stories. They didn't stand up and just tell you a bunch of facts about marketing and what happened. They brought you that emotion. And so thinking about what Luke mentioned of the fast, irrational, not really thinking about it brain, and the competition with the slow, rational brain, the health professionals think they're in the slow, rational space because they're health professionals, because they're educated in science. But they're just as much in that fast thinking brain as we are. And having those sticky stories, having those elements that make a story retellable is really important. And that's why we need to work more on understanding the health benefits and sharing the health benefits of the individual berries. Because no one's going to retell the story, did you know berries are good for you? Maybe we will in this room because we believe that and we care. But when friends and family are talking about their new food or their new recommendation or their new diet, they need a reason to tell that story. And having those sticky stories helps. And that's why with health professionals, we need new news. We need new news so that they have stories to tell. Because even though they do think they're rational, there is a cycle in nutrition. There is a cycle in dietetics and health recommendations and healthy eating recommendations. And people will latch on, and particularly the news media will latch on, to new information. A new study shows this new thing. They're never going to pick it up as earned media on the ABC News to say, hey, did you know berries are really good for you generally? There needs to be some kind of new nugget. So I know that, what the levy funds pay for in R&D and all those kinds of things, there's a limited number of things that can be done. And it feels like health is old news, but there is so much scope to create new news for health and berries as we understand more about the human body and we get different ways of measuring things in food and different ways of measuring health outcomes in people. There is always a pathway to new news, and that's what the health professionals are looking for. And remember, your health professionals are influencing your consumers. So the health professionals now are not just sitting in their offices and seeing people one-on-one. Health professionals, particularly dietitians, are spending a lot of time on social media sharing information directly to the public, directly to consumers. So this new news gives them a talking point. It gives them something to share from their point of view. Now, I didn't know the screen was going to be so large, so this has gone a bit blurry, sorry. But this is the details of what Jane was talking about. These berry personalities is something we created as part of our program, our project, to educate health professionals on the benefits of berries. Now, the personalities are definitely not to create a competition between the berries. It's not to say that this berry is better than that berry. It is to create an incentive for people to talk individually about each berry and elevate them as a collective. Because if each berry has a slightly different benefit, of course you get more benefits from eating more of them and all of them. And so this is looking at the different features, and I won't go through all the features today, but we gave each of them a different personality and highlighted the different key things that they can do. And this is something that's really important to health professionals. They want to solve a problem, particularly your GPs. They'll recommend something to someone if it solves a specific problem, a specific micronutrient deficiency, a specific challenge. I'll put up a QR code at the end where you can download the full details of all of these, so don't stress if you can't take a photo of that blurry thing. This is another example of a fact sheet that we put out during this campaign. So this one is looking at when do the benefits of berries start? I really love that Luke mentioned it won't happen overnight, but it will happen, because the idea of this was the opposite. It was to show that there are some health benefits of berries that happen within the first 30 minutes of eating them. And then there's some of the health benefits of berries that add up over the years. And so people, when you talk to them about health, they're not necessarily making health choices for the future. They're making them for today. Women want health choices. They want foods that's going to give them shiny hair and strong nails. And men want health choices that are going to help them lift their weights at the gym. People are generally not thinking about the cognitive decline that will happen in old age. And so creating this story of the time course of berry health benefits was about saying, yes, eat them now for goodness, and you'll also get the benefits if you do it in long term, which is exactly that Pantene effect that Luke mentioned. Now, this is an example of creating or latching on to some new news. So you guys all know berries are high in antioxidants, right? Everyone's familiar with antioxidants as a concept and berries being high in them, that beautiful red and purple colours, blue colours that they have. So people know that berries are high in antioxidants, but they're like, so lots of foods are high in antioxidants. And antioxidants kind of doesn't mean anything. It's so general, it's so broad. But positioning berries in the power of polyphenols, which is a specific compounds that acts as an antioxidant, that berries do the best in, gives you a story against those other foods. So we tried not to compete with other horticultural commodities and tried to compete with, the chocolate and those kinds of things, the tea and coffee. But berries outdo all of those when it comes to polyphenols. And the polyphenols aren't just about this amorphous thing called antioxidants. They're about these specific effects in terms of anti-aging and protecting our brains and the prebiotics. And the prebiotics is one of those trends that health professionals are very interested in today. So if you're not familiar with prebiotics, they're the things that feed our good gut bacteria. And gut health is going to remain a trend in food marketing, I think, for the foreseeable future. It's been building over the last 5 years, and I think it's going to build for the next couple. So I said already we need lots of new news. We need to have more research coming out. And I don't just say this because I'm a researcher, I say it because as a communicator, I need things to talk about if I want people to listen. And so the more research we can have coming out, the more touch points we can get, the more earned media, and the more specific problems we can solve. Because some of the problems we're solving with things like the polyphenol story are not problems we really knew we had or we knew we could solve with food before. So we need to keep this momentum going and not just go, well, in the 90s we did lots of research on the health benefits of blueberries and now everyone knows they're a superfood and we're done, because the idea of superfoods is starting to fall out of the vernacular in health promotion because people are getting a little bit sus about what a superfood actually means. The other thing that's really important is there isn't a balance in the science when it comes to berries. We've got a lot of data on blueberries, a lot of data on strawberries, and very little on the blackberries and raspberries. And so I think there's an opportunity to do some more research on the raspberries and the blackberries to then elevate that berry basket story overall, because it gives us those new touch points that you could then show how they complement those other berries where there's a lot of data already. And this is what I was talking about when I was talking about specific positioning. So specific positioning is, we did a fact sheet that was about the gut health, gut-brain axis, which is very trendy in wellness circles at the moment. And we looked at what can berries do in gut health with feeding those prebiotics. And then if we feed that good gut bacteria, what can that do for the brain? And science is actually so solid on the health benefits of berries. If you do the cognitive risk survey, there's a survey from the University of Sydney that you can do that tells you how at risk you will be of getting dementia in your old age. Berries is its own category. There's fruit, vegetable, whole grain consumption as one question they ask you, and then berries specifically. But I rarely hear anyone talk about those brain health benefits of berries. As an aside, I used to live in Norway, and in Norway we actually in our dietary guidelines had fruits as one category and berries were their own category. Showing the importance of berries culturally as well as in health. We're also working with health professionals to try and increase the eating occasions that they recommend berries for. Because when health professionals say eat berries, they're telling people to eat berries as a snack, in a smoothie, or with yogurt. And that's great, except for those eating occasions are already saturated with fruit, and other fruit is what you're competing with there. What we're trying to get people to do, and this specifically links into health professionals as KOLs on social media, is get people to talk about berries in other ways. Berries with cheese, berries in salads, berries in meals. And this is an opportunity for you as berries to be heroes, because berries make all of the other healthy fruits and vegetables that taste bad taste good. So the circle in the middle there, again, very blurry on this big screen, I made that salad when I was on the cook-up with Adam Liao. I made a poached strawberry chicken salad. And to be able to say, put these berries in your salad and now your salad tastes good, is a really powerful message. So use the delicious to access the nutritious is what I like to say. And berries are nutritious on their own, and they can be a part of elevating those other less tasty options. And then you can be getting berries into those savoury meals and making those savoury meals healthier and tastier. Now, going back to the health halo effect that Jane mentioned, frozen berries. The challenge with marketing frozen foods, and I know probably most of you in the room who are growers are associated with fresh berries, not frozen berries, but this is still one of the most common questions that I get from media and social media, is it okay for me to eat frozen fruits and vegetables? I do Fact Check Friday on my socials every Friday, and people can ask me anything, and almost every week someone asks me about frozen fruits and vegetables. And even if you're not selling frozen berries, helping promote frozen berries as an option does have that health halo effect for the whole sector. And the other thing that I would really love if people could tell more as a story is this is not a dichotomy. This is not binary. It's not fresh or frozen. So I often say to people when they say, is frozen okay? I'm like, yes, of course it is, but textural challenges and whatever else. I buy my berries fresh, I use them for the first few days fresh, and when they're about to turn, I pop them in the freezer. And when you tell the average person that that's an option, they're shocked. They think they can create their meal prep and cook their meal at the beginning of the week and freeze that and batch use it for the week, but they've never thought about it with their berries. And I think that's a missed opportunity in this cost of living kind of crisis, to be able to say, yeah, look, berries do go old faster than your other fruits and vegetables. That is a challenge in the cost. But just keep an eye on them, put them in the freezer before they're done. You get to use all of them, just in different ways. And what Luke said before about sustainability, talking about waste reduction, bringing in the ability to freeze at home, I think is a really good way of signalling that sustainability. Now, this is my last slide, and this is something that I think is really important. So as part of this education program that we did with health professionals, we did a series of events. So we did educational webinars, we did breakfasts, we did lunches, those kinds of things. And the health professionals in question time raised these topics over and over and over again, demonstrating that they are skeptical about modern farming practices. So they were really, really skeptical about pesticides. Emma, how can I recommend berries to people? They're full of pesticides. And every time I'm like, whoa, where did we get that from? Where are you getting that from? But health professionals think they're very savvy about these kinds of things, and they think they're on top of these kinds of things, and so they amp them up in their minds. The availability question. I thought berries being available more these days was a good thing, and I thought, we've got better growing practices and we can do different things, despite the challenges with climate. Health professionals in these sessions were going, well, if berries are available today in this season when they were never available before, what are you doing to them to make that happen? This is what the health professionals are saying, and these are the people who are advising the people who are going to be buying them. They're also really skeptical about taste-related breeding. They think if there's a new line of berries that now taste sweeter, that for some reason that's going to be less nutritious and those polyphenols and antioxidants are going to be gone. And we've just done some work recently that shows that health professionals and their recommendations are linked just as much to their fear of new technology, a concept called food technology neophobia. It's linked just as much to that as it is linked to what they actually know about food in their training. And so I really would love to encourage the berries industry to get on some research about these things and get on some education to health professionals about these things, because I think they're doing you a little bit of a dirty in telling people that berries are potentially no good for these specific reasons and they should only eat the berries that they can get from the farmers markets or access themselves, which isn't really good for consumers or good for anyone in this room. So this is the QR code where you can scan, you can get all of those fact sheets that we made. There's the video recording of the webinar. You are free to use those absolutely however you want. It was funded by Horde Innovation, so funded by all of you who pay the levies, and thank you to Horde Innovation for funding us to do that. You can print them, you can put them on your websites, you can distribute them, you can take bits of them, do whatever you want with them. They're absolutely for you. So enjoy them, and thank you so much for having me.